the globalists trying to crash the economy, and the patriots are waiting for the economy to crash. So which one's going to win out? They have the, their new currency they're going to push, and we have the patriot, currency that they're going to push. So I think the patriots are going to win out because they seem to be a couple steps ahead all the way. And so when the finances go through, then we can get to the other things like, Trump coming back, the martial law, of course, we'll have the riots again with the Black Lives Matter.
What about the EBS? Because Trump can't come back. He's got to come back when it's somehow linked to the EBS. Otherwise, no one will be educated as to anything.
The EBS will be on once the blackout happens. You need to black out to have the EBS come on, and that's what's going to happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, and so your sources are sort of seem to be targeting November for this, correct?
Well, they're targeting this period of time. We're already on October. What is it? Is it the 27th today?
28th. 28th.
So that's a very small, tiny window. They've done a lot of arrests, and they're just doing and doing and doing. I mean, when you have to arrest millions of, I would say, okay, so it's approximately sealed indictments worldwide, about 500,000 people, but on each sealed indictments, it could be up to 99 people per indictment. So it's a lot that they have to do. So it's not, it's ongoing, and as we know, DC is pretty much a ghost town. So, it's going. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So when we're looking at the sort of next month, and we're looking at your intel, just, clarifying that, is saying Trump is coming back next month. Is that correct? Or he's coming back dependent on when these other things
Well, the intel says Christmas in November, and, I don't like to say dates either, but, kind of towards the beginning, middle of November. But, so many things have to be done still before that happens. So, really, the military does things where, when one action goes smoothly, then they really don't have, an exact day, because it's dependent on a lot of things. So if the mission doesn't go well, then it's going to take longer. Right?
Okay, yes. Well, that's called things that are event driven. Okay, so that's how the military would term it. Correct. So it's event driven, and that's understandable. So at this point, anything else that you're getting intel wise, like for example, we know there are battles going on at the border. We know it's being inundated by refugees, and it's a shit show, whatever you want to call it. So because I'm getting intel about the border situation, I'm wondering if you're getting the same intel or different.
Well, according to my intel, they had planned, the globalists had planned on the Five Eyes, that would be the United States, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, and the UK, right? On the Four Eyes, UK, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and the Americans, they're not going to put up with that. I used to live in New Zealand, so I know how they are. They're more subservient. Americans, we're not going to put up with that. So what are they going to do on the Fifth Eye, which is the United States? They're going to do weather warfare. They already did the fires that they do every year. Then they did the triple bomb cyclones, which they did on the East Coast. They were using another HAARP facility in Norway to do the La Palma volcano and hoping that it would collapse into the ocean and cause a tidal wave to the East Coast. And on the border, they're doing the illegal surge. Now, who controls Mexico? That would not be, AMLO. That would be the Jalisco cartel, which was the ones that basically, if you've seen the video of all their armored vehicles and everything else, they're the ones that took over for the Sinaloa cartel, who was El Chapo, who basically testified in Brooklyn court that he gave $100 million to Enrique Nieto, the former president of Mexico, is extremely corrupt and gay, and basically gave millions of dollars to Adam Schiff and Nancy Pelosi. Right after he said that, they made the court case private. And that was what happened there. So the Sinaloa drug cartel has been taken over by the Jalisco, and they control it. And so they're creating a lot of problems so that they can they can smuggle the illegals in, and you know, a lot of stuff. They're doing a lot of things, and basically, you know, they have a lot of gunpowder and a lot of ammunition. So yeah, they're going to do what they're going to do.
Okay, but in theory, they're going to get pushback, right? From
Hopefully
Americans
from the
and not military, and I know that they're going to get pushback from the militia because they've told me. So, but the question is, you know, one other place I heard that under the cover of darkness, like if there was a so-called blackout, you know, in terms of our cell phones and everything else, that, and even during an EBS, that would allow them to cross the border with a lot of illegals under the cover of darkness. This is just a theory that someone's throwing out on another program. I think it's kind of an interesting theory. You know, it's always one side against the other, as you can appreciate, right?
Excuse me, but I'm from Asia, obviously. So, number one, okay, Americans, when you fought, and a lot of you passed, like my favorite, Davy Crockett, who died in the Alamo, and then you went after Mexico and you won. Why would you leave most of it to them? You should have taken it over like they do out of every other country. Americans are very forgiving and very kind. They always, that's the problem. So with this, you know, cartel situation, which they're making about, I would say about $169 billion a year just selling drugs. And of course, a lot of drugs are getting confiscated all over the world now. So they just captured the largest drug lord in Colombia. So the Clinton Foundation, which is one of the CIA assets, has lost, you know, pretty much its cocaine, which it lost a lot during that Hurricane Dorian, which the Patriots hung over the Bahamas, and out of those submarines, those 2 Chinese bases, there were packages of cocaine washing up on the beaches of Melbourne Beach. And then you have all the poppies or heroin in Afghanistan being burnt. So that's 2 sources of drugs coming in. That's a lot of income for the CIA, which have mostly split and gone to CERN, Switzerland, where they have a huge base there, and they've left Langley, they've left Guatemala, which they ran to when they were kicked out of North Korea. So basically, that's who's doing. So the question is this: Americans, if you really love your country, I mean, you should go after the cartel with your guns blazing. What can I say? I mean, just you should be shooting into the crowd. How's that? There you go.